Both the Labor and Liberal parties have announced their fishing policies for this election campaign. One thing I know for sure is that the Marine Fishers Association, that's the pro-fishers, are extremely happy, whilst the recreational fishing fraternity is still quite suspicious of the deal. So let's break the policies down and see what is different. Basically, they are exactly the same, except for one small addition by the Liberal Party. That is, they promised to take away the peak body status of RecFish SA and replace it with a Recreational Fishing Council made up of representatives from the South Australian Fishing Alliance, RecFishCENTRAL, RecFish SA if they survive without their government funding, and Fishin' SA, with other members being drawn from a ballot to fill the board. These people will be recreational fishers who do not bring old baggage with them. The next phase of the Liberals' plan is to set up a Fisheries Council, which will be made up equally of professional fishers from their respective groups and recreational fishers from the Rec Fishing Council. Unlike in times gone by, there will not be a voting advantage for the professional sector. Will it work? I'm sure it will, especially with representatives that will work tirelessly on behalf of recreational anglers, which hasn't happened in the past. There'll actually be elections and the like where all fishers have a say. Now that will be a new experience. The MFA has been working on this position paper for 2 years because it knew that if things kept going the way they are, the state's fishery will be more stuff than what it is now. Just remember all of the finger pointing that has been going on over who is to blame for the collapse of fish stocks. The pros claim it is the recreational effort and blame them for catching all of the fish. But when the pros have an average allocation of 80% across all sectors of the fishery, it's not hard to figure out who has done the damage. But history is history. We want to see significant change to the methods they employ. Now, both parties have adopted the MFA position of a buyout of commercial licences. $20 million to buy out 100 licences, on a voluntary basis, mind you. Firstly, what if no commercial fisher takes up the offer? You're in the same boat as you are today. So that needs to be fleshed right out to get some meaningful action taken to save the stocks. Secondly, as most fear, the only licences that will be surrendered will be those that haven't been used in the past 3 years. We call that latent effort. The licence holders have been sitting on them, keeping them in the cupboard for just a day like today. They'll dust them off and hand them in and get compensated. Now, that's of no use to the fishery because those that are doing the damage will still be out there going hard. If the buyout is to work, it must insist that the licences must be active and that compensation paid must be tied to the average tax returns over the past 3 years of those licence holders. As far as boat and gear replacement, well, I'm sorry guys, but you can't double dip because you have virtually written off the cost of that equipment in depreciation on your tax returns, so you've already been paid for it. Thirdly, the setting of quotas. They'll be set on current allocations and catch rates, so basically nothing will change there because they've flogged the stock hard over the past 8 years. All it will mean is that they can't catch any more than they do now. No talk whatsoever of removing nets from either gulf. With the buyback, they hope to remove 80 long lines. That will not have any effect as there's more than 2,000 long lines out there. Now, all of this is to be done over a 4-year period. That'll be in time for the next election in 2022, won't it? The MFA and Labor policy has done absolutely zilch for recreational fishers, but has helped greatly the big operators within the commercial sector. The little guys will go to the wall. The only thing the Libs have done is promise to set up the Recreational Fishing Council. This is the biggest event for rec fishos for years. We get actual representation. However, I didn't like the way it went about announcing its package to a hand-picked selected group in a Port Pirie pub, made up mainly of professional fishers. The main recreational groups weren't even given the courtesy of being invited. I will be extremely interested to see the donations register for both parties for this election. I think there'll be a prawn head in there.